Hello, today I'm going to have an interview with Moky, and that's because one of the objectives of Pelvic News Channel is to connect colleagues from all over the world and to learn from each other and to learn how pelvic physiotherapy is, how it works around the world. So maybe it's nice if you can introduce yourself first.
Good morning, and it's an honor to be one of your interviewees here, so thank you very much for having me. What a pleasure. My name is Moky, and I am from Chicago, Illinois. I am a pelvic health physical therapist. I've been doing that for close to 20 years now, and it's a real joy and passion of mine. I really like helping people who feel there's no help for them. I work at the University of Illinois in Chicago, at the hospital there, and I'm adjunct faculty for the university, and I'm at UI Health. So I run a pelvic health program there, and we have 3 full-time physical therapists who treat men, women, and children. And we have 1 part-time, and the program continues to grow. I think it would grow even more if we had more space, but that's a challenge when you work through a hospital system.
Oh, thank you. And how did you come about to get a pelvic floor physiotherapist? Or I say a pelvic physiotherapist because the floor is only part of the job.
Yes. How I became interested in pelvic floor or pelvic physical therapy. First, I would say that part of it is how I became interested in physical therapy, and I think that is a direct link from my grandfather had a health problem where he became paralyzed from his thoracic spine and down, so he was confined into a wheelchair. So as a small child, I didn't understand why my grandpa couldn't take me to the park, so I would do exercises with him to help him get stronger so he could take me to the park. And I didn't realize it, but it had a big impact on me as a small child and wanting to help people and help rehabilitate people. So as I got older, I definitely knew that I wanted to go into either medicine or physical therapy, so to become a doctor or a physical therapist. And then I spent time kind of volunteering in each scenario, and I really liked physical therapy. As I got older, I was always wanting to promote women and women's issues. I worked and volunteered with education and awareness of rape awareness and domestic violence, and helping women in those scenarios. So that generally led me to wanting to work with women and women's issues. And then you got into pelvic floor, and it just opened wide up, and you see how much help is needed there, and that's where I kind of found my calling.
And well, how did you become a pelvic physiotherapist? Do you have specific courses you need to follow?
Well, in the United States, there's been a lot of changes in the educational system to become a physical therapist in general. There are some people who actually were able to get a bachelor's degree, some people who've gotten master's degrees, and now I believe throughout the United States you have to get a doctorate degree. But first you have to complete 4 years at a university, and then continue on for about a 3.5 year program to get your doctorate in physical therapy, which I know can be confusing because that is our entry level degree in the United States, where other parts of the world, a doctorate of physical therapy is more of an advanced degree. So there's also some programs that combined a little bit, but ultimately, to become a physical therapist, you have to have 7 years of university work, that you must complete. Then you have to take a state licensure. I live in Illinois, so you have to take a test and pass it. And then from there, that's when you can start your pelvic health education, which a lot of that is through continuing education courses, where you will take a series and you'll go anywhere from 2 to 4 days and study. Yes.
And are there different courses, or is there one course you have to have?
Well, there isn't one course at this time you have to have. In the United States, you have different options. Primarily, there are two major educational institutes where you can do some of your pelvic health education. One is through the APTA, the American Physical Therapy Association, and the other one is through Herman and Wallace. Now, they offer different series of courses where after you take 3 or 4 courses, you can sit and receive a certificate of pelvic education and achievement. So you can be considered CAP certified, or there's another certification you can get as well. And so it's interesting because that has been developed over the past, I don't know, I think maybe 10 years. So there's a lot of people who've been in the field who don't have these certifications, but they also have 20, 30, 40 years of experience, and that speaks more volumes than getting a CAP certification at this point.
And I see a lot of female pelvic physiotherapists here. Do you have male pelvic physiotherapists?
Yes, we definitely have male pelvic health therapists. But they're definitely in a very minority in a sense. There's very few because it can be a challenging environment to go through, but I definitely know some and I've worked with some and they're absolutely fabulous. I think as we continue to see the field just open up, we're going to see more and more men going into these roles, especially working with post-prostatectomy incontinence and other male areas as well, but there are males out there who treat females as well.
And just for my idea, when I think about America, I've been there once and I saw all these big signs about lawyers. I think about the legal issues, because when you do an internal investigation, the patient is quite vulnerable. And how do you deal with those issues?
Well, yes, unfortunately, there's many good things about America too, so come and visit and I will show you some of them. But yes, to protect ourselves in the United States, a lot of times where you work, your hospital or the business you work for will have an insurance policy that would cover you in case somebody would try to sue you. In addition, you can buy a private insurance too, in addition to what you may have through your work, and that can cost anywhere from about $300 to $500 per year, and it's an extra protection for a therapist to have. Not everybody has it though, because you can get covered through your work.
Okay. And are there any special areas of interest?
It's hard to focus on just one because I think pelvic health is so interesting and is becoming more and more dynamic. But I see a lot of rise in recognizing the need in helping cancer patients, post-treatments of cancer patients at the hospital. That is one of our big initiatives right now, as well as working with transgender patients and giving them support before, during, and after their transitions and affirmation surgeries. So I think it's a really exciting time to be a pelvic health physical therapist, and there's so much more we do than just treat incontinence, but that's also very important too, because that can have life-changing effects for a patient. So it's just neat to see how many different ways and different diagnoses we can help treat and help really change people's lives.
Okay, thank you. Well, today we are at ICS, the International Continence Society, at a conference in Gothenburg. And I've heard that you've just become the chair of the physiotherapy committee. And do you want to share some inside knowledge with us?
Where'd you hear that?
I voted for you.
No, I'm teasing. It's an honor and a privilege to step into this role. It'd be a learning opportunity, as well as as I mentioned, there's so many things that pelvic health physical therapists do, and I think there's so many ways that we can really showcase the different specialties we have. not only in the diagnoses we treat, but how many different treatment options we have and how we do things all over the world, and just coming together from different countries to build better bridges and come up with better treatment options and reach people who don't have these treatment options. So, you know, I have a lot of thoughts, and once I get a little more stepping into this position, I will hopefully, you know, definitely get more and more goals to try to attain, but it'll be working with a lot of wonderful people that will help me. So, you know, there is no I in team, it's a group effort, so I'll be very lucky. We have a great committee of wonderful people that are hardworking and have very good passion, just like me.
I'm already looking forward to Las Vegas next year and see what you come up with. And just one more thing just got into my mind. You live in Illinois.
Yes.
If you would move to Florida, would you be able to work as a physiotherapist?
I should be able to, but you have to actually, in the United States, you have to check each state's laws. Sometimes you can apply to transfer to a different state. Sometimes you would have to retake your licensure test so that you could become licensed in that state. I've even known people who've had to take extra courses before they've had to get their licensure. So depending on the state would depend on what you need to do. And offhand, I did not look it up because I didn't know you'd ask me that. But yeah, so it just really depends on the state and their rules.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there a book you would like to recommend to our colleagues?
There are so many wonderful books that I could recommend, and there's better information, well not better, but more information coming out every day about pelvic health and our different treatment options. But one of my favorites is just going back to a good anatomy book, and one of mine is the Frank Netter anatomy book. Just that looks at all the beautiful pictures of the pelvis, and I bring it out to patients, and I will discuss things with colleagues, and we'll open it up, and it's just a reminder that we never know enough about anatomy, and we always got to double check what we're thinking. But the pictures are amazing, and I've learned so much from them.
Okay, is there something you would like to add? Is there something I haven't asked you?
Well, we could be here all day,
yes.
But no, you know, when you go to Las Vegas, if you want to stop in Chicago before or after, you could come and see how we do things in Chicago. We could have some deep dish pizza and Skol to have a glass of wine. But thank you for allowing me and inviting me to be here today.
Well, thank you very much. It's really a nice honor. Thank you. I'm going to give you a hug. Meeting screen.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.